Welcome to Simper Sometimes with Benny. Yo, I've never done that before, but you know what? I just did it. So, whether you like it, you don't like it, I don't know. So, I have no idea what I'm gonna talk to you guys about right now. If I'm honest, um, I realized that tomorrow is Monday, and this weekend was jam packed with stuff, and I've been releasing so much on Mondays and Wednesdays and Mondays and Wednesdays and sometimes even more that I came to the point where I had nothing left to drop. And I was like, fuck, tomorrow's going to be the first day where I don't drop anything. And I don't want to do that because I feel like if I do that, then the whirlwind of, not dropping stuff is going to happen and then I might get off. And you know, so I didn't want to do that. And then, as I was coming out here, my wife was like, "Well, what are you even going to talk about?" And I said, "I don't know." And even to this moment, I really don't know. But I guess one of the things I want to talk about um, is accountability, and also just be. So when I say accountability, I mean being accountable to yourself, and then also being accountable to each other, and for each other. And I say that because you know everybody, and we've been talking about this a lot with some of the different episodes that I'm doing, and I have done, and some of the conversations that have led up to these conversations or led up to these episodes are discussions about the number 22, or about the organizations, or about when we talk about suicide, and we want to make sure that we're talking about it in the right way, and that we're doing things to actually stop it from happening. Now, mind you, will it ever completely stop? No. It's just reality. It's never going to stop. No matter how much you talk about it, no matter how much you do, people are still going to feel that that's their only way out. And I really just wanted to talk about the simple fact that there's a level of bullshit, I guess you can call it, that people have, and people, a lot of people say things like, "Hey man, I'll hit you up," and now mind you, this is not. I'm not talking as in just myself. I'm talking about just life and period, life in general, and it's the reality of it. It's like I have, during doing this podcast, I have been able to meet a lot of new veterans, people that I've never met, people that I didn't know about, and through doing this podcast, I've been able to meet a lot of different people, and what's crazy is that some of these new people, um, it's like I've known them forever, and they're hitting me up. Hey man, how are you? Hey man, your podcast is awesome. Or hey man, I think you should do this. Or hey man, you should do that. And just really asking me things like that. And asking me things like, hey man, how can I support you? Like dude, I don't know. If any of you listening follow my social media. I don't know Timmer, the Marine rapper. I don't know Topher. I don't know DCure. I don't know them personally. But I know their story. I can relate to their story. I can relate to them as people, as human beings. So if you've been following my social media, I went ham on their music, and I actually ended up, before I was even going ham, because Let's Go Brandon came out after I went ham, so I was already going ham. And because I went ham on Squid Game, I went ham on my reaction posts to those two songs, and and then listening to those songs made me find out about The Cure. Like I didn't know, I didn't know who Space Force was the other day. Like a week ago, I had no idea who these guys were. You know what I mean? But something that you know about me, if you know me, and if you don't know about me, you're gonna find out. It's like, bro, if I love something, I'm gonna let you know that I love something. Like there's Christian music rappers that I've listened to. I used to hate Christian rap. And years ago, a friend of mine, was at this church group, and they were playing this music, and I was like, yo, this just goes hard. Because I grew up listening to Eminem, 50 Cent, Nas, Jay Z, all those different people. And I grew up listening to those people, and I grew up edifying that, and I grew up dedicating my just my childhood to trying to becoming that, and but if I like the song, I will go crazy on it. Same thing with music, with movies. If I love a movie, I'm gonna tell you why I love that movie. I'm gonna tell you everything about it. I'm gonna go bugging if a movie comes out like Tom Hardy, if he drops a new movie, I'm gonna go crazy as if like I know who he is. Like I don't know him, but guess what? I'm gonna tell you right now. Like for instance, Venom 2. Venom 2 was trash, but and no one heard me say anything about it. But Venom 1, I went hard. You know what I mean? I went crazy. And the reality of it is that, I don't know those gentlemen, but I'll tell you right now, the reactions that I've created. First, it was because of their music, right? And then, on top of that, it was just because of who they are as people. And you can tell that they're people that want to make a difference. You know what I mean? And you can tell that they're people that it's not about the money. It's not about the clout. It's not about the fame. It's the fact that like TMR, I didn't know until literally I didn't know that he's been going live every day for a year straight. He goes for 22 minutes. And sometimes if it goes over, it goes over. But he goes live every day so that people can reach out to him. And he puts you on his live. And that's how I ended up, knowing more about him. And friends of a friend and, people who were like, nah, he's a real dude. He's chill. I know him. I talk to him. It's effed up. And K-Bar Soap, they both were like, hey, man, like, we know him. And if you go on live with him, he'll eventually end up let you on. So I started following him, and the point that I'm getting to here is I reached out to Andrew, who's DKeer, and I said, "Hey man, thank you for what you're doing," and then he reached back to me, and then I actually ended up listening to his album Enemy, and I'll tell you right now, like it was a beautiful. If you haven't listened to it, you should really listen to it. Whether you find yourself being a Christian or not. I ask you to listen to the album just to listen to the album. Don't go into it as it's a Christian album. I don't believe that it is. I don't know. I'm not speaking for him. But I'm telling you right now, like, whether you believe in Jesus Christ and you believe in the devil, you have an enemy. And we all share a common enemy. And there's an enemy and there's a force, again, whether you believe in Christianity or you don't. There's a negative and the positive. There's an enemy within us, and there's an enemy that we battle with every day. And I'm telling you right now, if you battle with that enemy daily, and you find that daily you lose that battle, go listen to this album. Because listening to the album, I just resonated so much with it. Just so much of it was I like, wow, that's me. And that's why, before I even went ham on anything else, when I heard that song PTSD by Punchline and Timmer, the Marine rapper, I went crazy on it. Because do I have PTSD to a medical standpoint? Yes. Has the VA told me that I have PTSD? Yes. Now, are there levels to PTSD? 100%. So am I saying that I'm on some other level type PTSD? No. I'm not saying that. And again, to those people that are, I'm not talking down to you. I'm not saying anything disrespectful. I just want to get that clear. But I can relate to what they're talking about in the music. So that's why, to me, it was so powerful. You know, the album by Andrew, by The Cure. Powerful. Like, so powerful. Like, just listening to him describe his everyday life, listening to him talk about his struggles, and I can't wait because I hope that I have the time to, you know, if it's possible, I really want to be able to do an episode where I can kind of unwrap the song with him, because I want to understand where it came from. You know what I mean? And I had hit him up and I said, "Wow, man, that album really touched me. You know, really hit me, and I can resonate with it." And I told him that, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I've dealt with some stuff." And you know, I think he was like, "Yeah, I had a deeper, you know, darker past." And I want to understand that, you know what I mean? And now, mind you, I've never lived his life, so I'll never truly understand it. But if I can get him on the show to talk about it, to understand where he was coming from, then we can understand and we can resonate with that album so much more, and then we can appreciate him so much more. And that's the thing too. And the where I was going with this whole thing is that people that I don't know, I feel like I know, and I feel, and they've been hitting me up. Hey man, how can I help you with your podcast? Hey man, how can I get you out there? But yet people that I know that I've knew haven't done that. And it's not even about that part, but it's just the reaching out part. You know what I mean? Like there's people in my phone. If I decided tomorrow I would never call you, I wouldn't hear from you. If I just decided tomorrow that I wasn't gonna hit nobody up, how many people would hit you up? And that's what I'm saying to everybody listening right now. Right now, if you looked at your Facebook, your social media, your phone, and you said, you know what? How many people do I talk to on an everyday basis? And not even every day, but if some shit was going down in my life right now, who could I call that would help me right now? That's a question. Think about that. Who would help you right now? And I'm sure there's a couple of people in your mind right now. But the question is, why isn't that everybody? Why isn't that everybody? And a lot of us feel like, well, we've been burned so many times, you know what I mean? And the reason why, again, like I said, I came into this not knowing at all what I was going to talk about, so wherever I'm at is wherever I'm at. And if y'all don't know this, when I do a lot of these episodes, I have an issue with my memory to where I don't even know where I've gone the whole time, and then when it's over, and I'm like, oh shit, where have we been? But you know, the what I'm trying to get at, and hopefully this all makes sense in the end, is just that so many of us say, "Hey, I got you." We say that. You know what I mean? I was thinking about this the other day, and I said it to somebody, and they're like, "That doesn't make sense." But I'm gonna tell you, maybe it does make sense. Maybe I'm not the only person thinking about it like this, but we hear all the time, "I got your back," right? I got your 6. What about I got your 12? Like, why are we so worried about what's coming behind us when maybe I don't even see what's coming at me? Like maybe that's a key to this whole thing, man. Like maybe that's what it is. You know what I mean? And maybe, like my boy Johnny, man, Johnny Roth, over at Recalibrate. They had this thing called Find Your Fire Team. Well, that's the point. You got the 360. You got every angle from it, where everybody and anybody can come at you. But what I'm saying is that why isn't it I've got your 12? Because for me, I think it's more so that we live this life, and a lot of times we feel like we're alone. We feel like there's no one there, or there's no one that can relate to us. To no matter, and now that's for anything. You know what I mean? And then as the time goes on and the time goes on and the time goes on, you feel so alone, you feel so lost. And then sometimes you just realize, like, bro, it was just right in front of me. And it was right in front of me, I didn't notice, you know what I mean? And, a lot of times where our focus isn't where it needs to be. Our focus isn't on what's in front of us. So what if we said that to people? You know what I mean? Hey man, I got you 12. Hey man, I got you. And that's the thing, man. And here's a funny I don't want to say this is a funny story, but I didn't realize it until the next day after it had happened. Like, it had happened, and I was like, that didn't happen, bro. So I had this guy. Now I can call him friend. A buddy of mine, Scotty. I don't know if he likes being called Scotty, but I'm gonna call him Scotty. So Scotty. And if you hear this and you don't like me calling you Scotty, then I'm gonna still call you Scotty. But so Scotty is blind, and he's a W amputee. And one of these days, I'm going to drop his episode. The guy who is editing it is an active duty Marine. He's taking a little hard, taking a little extra time on it. And I get it because he's busy. So one of these days, you'll actually hear the story about Scotty. But a couple of weeks after we shot our episode, I hit him up. I was like, hey man, I'm at the chapter house over here, Howell. And they have dartboards. Do you mind? You want to get together one night and just throw some darts? And he was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, let me know what night you're thinking, and we'll make it happen. And then he even asked me, oh, well, do they have darts? I was like, yeah, I'll ask them. I asked the waitress. She's like, oh no, we don't have them. I was like, all right, well, I can bring my own. So then Scotty says that. He goes, well, are you sure you can bring your own? I was like, I don't know. I'll call and ask. So I called and asked. And the woman was like, yeah, well, you can bring your own. This is like the next day. I was like, all right, word. So the day comes. I go pick up Scott. He hits me up. And I'm like, all right, word. I'll go pick him up. I go pick him up at his house. I had the darts in the car. He gets out of the car. We get to the crib. We get to the bar. And I put the darts on the table. And the waitress comes into the table, and the waitress says, she goes, I would appreciate if you wait to throw darts until the people at the other table leave. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. I'm not going to throw darts with everybody right there. And Scotty said something along the lines of, oh, good, because I'm blind. I wouldn't have seen them. And I'm like, I start laughing. And then, mind you, again, it didn't hit me. And then, later on, the night goes on, and we never played. We just talked about overseas, about deployments, about the Marine Corps, about life, about current life, about my children, about my family. And I'll tell you what, man, it was a breath of fresh air, because it was like I've known this dude for my whole life. I literally, the conversation, if you were a bystander looking at this conversation, you would have been like, they're just two really good friends that have known each other for so long, and that are just having this conversation. You know what I mean? And you could see, like, we're laughing, we're sharing a beer, we're going at it, and we finish up. We hung around until they started closing, and to last call, and it's like 10:30, whatever. He gets in the car. We get to the car. I drop him off, and the next day, I just was thinking about it, and I was like. Bro, you invited a blind guy to play darts. And then I was telling my dad the story. And my dad was like, yeah, but you know what, though? He probably loved the fact that you didn't see him any differently than anybody else. And that's a huge part of where I'm going with all of this, is just that we all have things that are going on in our lives. And sometimes, when you are double amputee and you're blind, there are things that are very visibly seen. But sometimes, you could notionally have all of these things wrong with you, but no one can actually see them if they looked at you right now. If somebody looked at you right now, you look like you're all buttoned up. And you look like there's nothing wrong with you, but on the inside, maybe there's a frick ton of stuff going on. And going back to the beginning of this, where I brought up the accountability piece, you know, it's lacking. It's lacking. It's lacking. And, you know, and I'll be the first person to say it, you know, like, you know, I haven't been in the gym in like a month, and it sucks because I went like literally 12 strong months. I was going every day. And then I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden this past like month, I just kind of dropped it. You know, I don't know why. You know, but to get back what I'm talking about when I talk about this accountability piece is that we have to be accountable to one another. We got to be accountable to each other, and well, one another and each other is the same thing. We got to be accountable to ourselves. But the biggest thing is that we just gotta be there for each other. Like, we gotta just, if something's going on, be the person to say, "Hey, man, what's going on, bro?" You know, if you see something wrong, and if you see, even if you feel like there's something wrong, you know, and I get it. People are like, "Oh, you shouldn't make insinuations. You should, you know, you shouldn't assume things that's gonna make an ass out of you and me." But sometimes it's like, yo, maybe I would rather assume than not. You know, maybe I would rather assume and just say, "Hey, man, is everything okay?" You know, I want to make sure everything's good with you, bro. And if it's not, come and talk to me. Um, and and then that's the thing too is that, and we also got to make sure that we're meaning it in the right way. You know what I mean? Like that we actually legitimately give a shit. You know, sorry for I'm trying not to curse on my episodes, just because I'm realizing it. Like, you know, all the guys like Topher and them, they were talking about it. They were like, "Bro, I want to make sure that everybody can hear my music, and if somebody is, you know, if someone doesn't want to hear cursing, I don't want them to be drawn away from my music because of it." You know, and it's also just better to have it out of it. So I'm really gonna try to not do it so much. Um, but you know, we got to come from a place of that, because a lot of times it's like, "Oh, hey, you can," you know, it's like me. I've never understood, and here, you know, a lot of people that listen to this is military. I would love for you to understand that, for you to help me out here. So I heard this a couple weeks ago. "Hey, Marines, I have an open door policy, but guess what? You better make sure you went to everybody else before you come to me." Okay, well then that's not an open door policy. And now, mind you, I understand completely because I've been in the Marine Corps long enough. I understand that you're making sure you say that because you don't want a whole dozen PFCs standing at your door to come at you with some shit, especially when it was some stuff that somebody else could have handled. But I think it's the way in which you say it. Listen, Marines, I have an open door policy. I would truly, I'm truly encouraging you to come and speak to me if you feel that I'm the person you need to speak to. If there's something going on in your life and there's something that you feel like no one else you can turn to and you need to come see me, come see me. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll ask somebody else, you know. But, you know, I think it's not what we say, it's how we say it. And a lot of times that's the reason why a lot of people don't talk to anybody. Or, you know, and I'll be the first person to say it. I've been there. You know, I've been the person to, you know, I run my mouth, or I say things like someone will tell me something and I'll go tell other people, or something happens in my life and I'm like, "Hey, yo, this and the third happened." And like when it happens, instead of me just keeping it to myself, I go and tell like 6 other people. Like I had a job opportunity that came up. I went and told like that night. I went and told like 7 or 8 people. Guess what? The job opportunity never happened. So and it's like I gotta stop doing that. But my point of where I'm getting, I know I'm getting off the rails. Is just give a damn about people and truly give a damn. Because when it comes to, I might not be the best Motor T operator. I might not be the best when it comes to that. But if you know any Marine that I've ever worked with, they know that I give a damn. They know that I will. And there's been times where like my wife's like, Doug, you gotta really go do that, or my wife's like, Doug, relax, do it, whatever, but it's like, if you needed, mind you, she'll never tell me not to go do something that has to do with helping somebody else, and we're the same way, we're both of us. But my point is that if you ever need anything, I'm gonna be there to help you. But not everybody can say that, and other people say that, but they don't mean that. It's like this dude I met. This dude, and I wanna kind of shout a couple people out. And now, mind you, when I throw these people out there, I don't want you to think that I'm in any way, shape, or form sponsored by any of these people, because I'm not. Like for instance, the guy right above me, Lift Vet. I'm wearing his shirt. I got his flag. I don't know the man. I've never met this man in person. I've actually never even seen his face. But I've been talking to him on Instagram and over the phone, and texting since maybe May. And that's, first of all, that's all thanks to Massar Snyder, Bryce. All thanks to him, because I saw his shirts, and then he tagged me in a post like, hey, tag 3 people and get a free shirt. My first shirt from Lift Vet was a free shirt. And then that was how I ended up, like, I got like 20 of them in my closet. I'm about to go buy the flannel. But yeah, I got the flag because I was like, when I had the idea for the wall, I was like, I gotta give, Dom at Lift Vet, I gotta give him a part of that wall, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have shirts, I wouldn't have hoodies, I wouldn't have a place to sell my shirts and hoodies, and he's just doing it to help me out because he's a veteran. Like literally, when I asked him, he was like, yeah, man, you're a veteran, I'm a veteran, I'm just trying to help you out, bro. And then that was I already had it, but that was like kind of a push to want to help other veterans out, which is why I'm always talking about other people, which is why I want other people to come on my show. Because, and I've said this before, but I want to make sure people understand. I want people to understand what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish with my podcast. What I'm trying to do a whole lot. I mean, I want to get veterans' stories out there. I want to get their families' stories out there. So if there is someone who's passed away, and you're a family member, I would love for you to come and talk about, their life, who they were, and then what you've gone through, losing them. Or if you're a friend who's lost somebody, if you're somebody who's gone through a traumatic experience, cancer, any kind of disease, loss of a child, anything. Like, does not have to be about military. Because think about it, and maybe they're out there, maybe they are, but who has those conversations? You know what I mean? Like, who sits down and talks about, like, hey, how did it lose a child? How did it feel to lose a child? What was going through your mind? What goes through your mind now, every day when you walk through your house and they're not there? So those are the things that I want to understand. I want to be able to talk through. And then I want to be able to positive things, because when I was on recruiting duty, all I ever heard was negative things. All I ever heard was, oh, you don't want to be in the military, they could commit suicide. You don't want to be a veteran, you're going to do this. Or you don't want to be a veteran, you're going to be homeless. And I was like, who are these people? Like, because I don't know nobody who's homeless. You know what I mean? And now, are they there? They're sure, they're there. But, or hey, if you want to join the military and become an alcoholic. Bro, listen to me. And I can't speak from a place of this because I don't know it, but after talking to people who are, a lot of people say, like my boy Matt, my boy Jackman, they're like, hey man, there comes a time where you gotta just realize that you can't just have a drink, and that's the first step of it all. Is realizing like, okay, if I have one, that leads to 6 or 12. I can't just have one. So then maybe the answer is okay. Well, maybe I don't need to drink. You know what I mean? And as far as me, that's something that I've realized. Like recently, I can't count the last time I was drunk, which is good, because now I just kind of just have one or two, and I just chill. But what I'm trying to get at is just understanding that we all need to be there for each other. So people like Fire for Effect. I met the guy at I'm not gonna lie. I think his name is Anthony. I don't want to mess it up, so it might not be. I apologize if your name is not Anthony. But I met him over at. We had a brief conversation at Borbiz. At Borbiz, met there. I bought a candle, and then since then we've kind of been exchanging Instagrams and going back and forth with stories and stuff. You know, and then just talking about people like Past Purpose, talking about I don't know them, I haven't talked to them, but Hunter Seven, I would love to do an episode with them, just because I see all the great work that they're doing. People like it's effed up. Great, she has a great podcast. I think it's Women with an Effed Up Mind. I think that's the right name. And then you have Cruz Corner, phenomenal person. She's a writer, she's a poet, she's, an author, she's doing a podcast, she's doing all these great things. And again, it's like, I'm going to share everybody and anybody because I don't care if you're better than me. If you're better than me, well then guess what? I got to listen to more of your episodes because I need to refine my craft, which is what I'm doing every day. And I just wanted to come out here and that's really what I want to talk about. Is just no matter where you're at in life, remember, number one, you're not alone. No matter how alone you feel, you're not alone. And hold yourself accountable, hold others accountable, and just make sure that if you tell somebody, hey man, I got you, that you really freaking mean it. You know what I mean? Or and people get busy. You know what I mean? But you're never gonna want to be the person who's like, someone passes away and you're like, shit, I told him I was gonna call him and I never did. Or when you have a missed call from somebody and you're like, oh shit, 3 days later, I'll call him now. Life goes on. I get it. We all live lives. We all do all these great things. You know what I mean? And we all have families, and we all do these things, and we get so caught up in the rigmarole. We get so caught up in life that we forget about being accountable to others, being accountable to ourselves, and just being, I don't know about you guys, but me and my wife, I love my wife to death. Talk to her every day. But if you think about it, there's days where you get so caught up with life and work and life and work and kids and life and work, and then you lay down in bed, you're like, yo, we haven't spoken all day. And then you're like, fuck. And then you go to have a conversation and you both knock out. I don't know if that's just us, but it happens all the time. But I ask you that if that's you, like it is me, to take a step back and just realize that you're surrounded by people who love you. Even if it's just one person. And if you're listening to this, that means that you're a viewer of mine, and you're that one. I'm that one person, bro. If you gotta call me. I don't care. I don't care what time of the day it is. I don't care what time of the night it is. I don't care where in the world you are. I don't care. If there's anything I can do to just be a voice, be a listener, be an ear, that's what I want to do. And it doesn't have to be an episode. It could just be us. And if you don't want to talk about nothing or you don't want to ever air it out there, let's go. But that's all I'm trying to do, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna just I'll kind of quickly cap this and then I'll end it here. So if you don't follow I don't even know the name of the page, but there's a page on Facebook about Marine recruiting. And long story short, last Saturday, a week ago, I posted a video. It's on my YouTube page. About recruiting duty, about area canvassing, about product knowledge, and I kind of just went off. I was driving to work, kind of just went off. And I've realized, and now doing that kind of made me realize, okay, before you go and air some stuff, maybe you should go back and make sure you're doing it in the right, level head. Make sure, and definitely, I'm never doing an episode while I'm driving to work again. But I did the episode, and some random dude that I don't know, that I've never met, goes on and starts fucking destroying me. Like, instead of giving me some, like, at first it sounded like it was like corrective criticism and it was coming from the heart. And I messaged the dude and I was like, hey, thanks, man, I really appreciate it. Because I understood where he was coming from. I was like, you know what? I didn't think about it like that, but I got you. But then, all of a sudden, I'm at work and I look at my phone and I got like this thing literally went from like 2 to like 75 comments. And it was mostly just me and him going back and forth, and then this random dude going in. And it actually spanned like 2 or 3 days. And then one night, the night that I went out with Scotty, had a couple of drinks, and he kept texting me, messaging me. And then I was like, you know what? And then he deleted me on Messenger, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go at him, and I'm going to make a live video on the Facebook page, directing it towards him and anybody who's listening. And I did. And then he commented on that after telling me he was done talking about it, whatever. So then, but then the next day, this guy that I was on recruiting duty with, he's a gunny. He messaged me and he's like, bro, what are you trying to accomplish by that video? And I was like, you're right. So I deleted the video. And there was a part of me that after that video and after that episode, part of me was done. Part of me was done with this whole thing, this whole podcast. I was like, yo, I'm done with this shit. I told my wife, I was like, you know what, I think I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. And then my wife was like, why? Because of one person. And then she was just like, Doug, stop. Just come back from it. Think about what you're going to do in your next episode, and just don't be so hard on yourself, and don't listen to these people, especially people that are going to do that to you. And then my boy Matt had hit me up. We were talking, and I told him the same thing. I was like, man, I think I'm done with it. And Matt's not religious. He's not a religious dude. He's in one of my very first episodes. But, me and him had the conversation about Christianity, about God. He believes that there is a being. I don't want to talk for him. But, he doesn't believe in Christianity per se, but he believes that there is a greater power or whatever. And Matt just said to me, he was like, listen, man, he was like, your God that you believe in gave you the ability to speak. God put it in you to create a podcast. So why would you quit? Why would you quit? God is, and he said it, it was later, he was quoting scripture, but he was like, God has begun a good work in you, and he'll see it through to the day, through until he comes. And it made me realize it. You know what I mean? And then and then that same day, I was having that conversation with him and my wife, and I was listening to Dr. Billy Alsbrooks, and he's gonna come out in January. Well, not out, but he's gonna do a Zoom with me. To get on the episode, and I was listening to him, and if you haven't gone out and listened to him, his story is so profound. I haven't had a chance to read his book yet, but he has a whole YouTube explaining what happened to him and how he started the progress and everything. And he's a motivational speaker. He has I don't think he has a podcast, but he has he's on Spotify and iTunes, but he does motivational like albums where every track is just a different thing. And when I had to listen to an episode of Marcus Luttrell's podcast with him on it, and Marcus Luttrell was interviewing him, and he talks about the whole thing. And if you really want to know about who he is, I think that was a very great interview, and everything he did is what I want to do. But yeah, did great interview. And one of the things that he said was bro, he's like, I didn't know what I needed to do or what I wanted to do, and it was years. He's like, I was doing what I thought was the right thing for years, and it wasn't. And then he's like, but you also got to realize that, you're not going to drop a YouTube video and then tomorrow it's going to go skyrocketing. He's like, bro, it's going to take time. And, I understand that. But really all I'm trying to say, and I wanted to just tell you guys that because that was something that I was dealing with, was just like, I'm very, 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 I want corrective criticism. I want you to come at me and say, hey, man, I think... And that's why I always ask people, what do you want me to talk about? Like, I want to make sure that I'm giving the audience what they want. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys good, impactful episodes. Like, if y'all are listening to my episodes and you feel like they're too long and I gotta maybe I gotta make them 3 episodes, maybe instead of making them an hour and a half sometimes, maybe I gotta do them parts. Because the reason why I ask that is because some of these episodes, like the one with Scott, that episode was like 3 hours long. But it's because we got into so much stuff. And we get so caught up in the conversation. It's us boys reminiscing. It's, Marines together laughing it up and just living. And that's why I don't really want to, like, set a cap to it. I don't want to set a cap to an episode. You know what I mean? I want to be like, hey, guys, we only got 30 minutes. Because then it's like, what if my brain goes somewhere else and I should go, and I should have went with it, you know what I mean? But listen, I really want you as the people who are listening, I would really appreciate if you could let me know what you guys think. And again, I just want to thank Space Force, the Marine rapper, Topher, Andrew, D-Cure, just for being who you guys are, man. Being able to listen to your album, being able to, and now I've been diving into Space Force because if I'm going to go do an interview with them on Wednesday, if everything works out, I don't want to be sitting here, not knowing any. I don't want to have music that I can't refer to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to them for the next 3 days, and I think I'm going to write down different lines that have impacted me and that I was just like, whoa, because there's a lot of them, bro. Like, oh man, like D-Cure, that whole album, Enemy, that album, so many times I found myself on my seat like, oh, he did it. But yeah, so listen, I do appreciate anybody and everybody who's listening to this. Do me a favor, and I guess I felt like I shouldn't have to do this, but then every podcast that I listen to does it, and then everywhere that I'm reading says you should do it. Yo, if there's one episode out of the 65 or 70 episodes that I've dropped, one episode that you found that you enjoyed, that you liked it, that you shared it, that you felt something that I was talking about, go and share my podcast. Because I cannot gain viewership without you. I cannot help other people without you. And I can't help you without you. So, like, I want to make shirts. I want to make freaking clothing. Like, I want to make, stuff you look at and you laugh at. Stuff that you look at and you reminisce with. There's so much I want to do. And I just want to do it for everybody. And I want to share in it with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a millionaire, a billionaire. Like, I don't care about none of that because it's not going to be here tomorrow. I want to just be able to help the next person. I want to be able to help anybody that I come across. If there's anything that I can do for you, I want to do it. And I feel like my way of doing that is by telling your story or interviewing you so you can tell your story. So if you have a nonprofit that we can talk about, if you have a GoFundMe that you're doing because of something going on in life, like I want to, bro. My next episodes, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna happen. I just don't know where. I want to get some NYPD dudes up in here. I want to get some FDNY dudes up in here because I want to know where their heart's at, and I want to know where their thought process is at, and I just want to go in on it. And I also want to just, again, I'm rambling. It's been like 45 minutes, so I'm going to cut it right here. Listen, thank you for everything you do, whoever you are listening right now. I don't give a damn who you are. Somebody wants you here tomorrow. So guess what? Show up to another episode. I'm not going to drop another one till Wednesday, so you better be here on Wednesday. And then guess what? You better be here the following week. Because if you're not, someone's gonna miss you, even if it's one person. Even if you go to the Dunkin' Donuts every day at Monday at 8 a.m., guess what? Somebody there notices that every day at 8 a.m. you're at that Dunkin' Donuts. And then if you don't show up that day for the rest of their life, they're gonna say, you know what? I wonder whatever happened to that dude. So listen, I ask every one of you listening right now, tomorrow, go talk to somebody you've never spoken to. Just walk by and say hi to somebody. Hey, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. How are you? That's it. How's everything? Just be a nice person, bro. That's all it's about. Stop trying to, go crazy. Like, who cares about making all this money? Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Be the right person. Be what you are intended to be. And if you don't know who that is, then maybe you gotta find out, do some soul searching. But I'll tell you one thing: we all gotta grow, and we all gotta move on. So, deuces. I appreciate you. Good night. Thanks for everything. I hope that you enjoyed this. Adios. Deucey, bubble goosey.